What's up everyone, welcome back to our lawn, and today is a split purpose video. It is landscaping part 4 and the July yard update. So every year that I've had this channel that I've uploaded videos, I've done a May update, a July update, and then an end of year summary on what I did. So this is going to be July and we're starting in the backyard. So looking around, it's okay. So I have in several videos this year preached a strategy of bare minimum efforts from a watering perspective to fight against drought and heat. Now I could have been out here watering twice a week, putting down 1.5 inches of water every week, and this would look fantastic. But I have literally no interest in doing that. So this back here has been watered 5 times to supplement a total of, I believe, 9.5 inches of rainfall for all of 2021. So everything you're seeing is struggling because I'm not getting the rain I'm used to here. And I'm not willing to, and I don't want to, and I don't want to recommend to any of you to water any more often than this. But we can kind of pan around, walk around, and see what's going on and talk about it a little bit. While we're back here, then we'll transition into the putting green and practice facility as well. So as we look across, it's definitely a yard no one would be upset to have. This back here still remains some of the best looking, and you can see in comparison, if you look down the hill, that's unwatered. So if I wasn't implementing the mowing and watering strategies that I have been implementing, that's what we'd be looking at. And so there's some issues everywhere. I did spray Spectracide weed stop for lawns, which has quinclorac in it. And I did hit the areas that have bent grass creeping in pretty heavy. So that's what you're seeing here, is bent grass is not a fan of quinclorac. So you're seeing it's dying off there, and it's dying off there. And then we can walk over here. And actually something that I'm really excited about over here is you can see the bent grass is really starting to die off. But look at how much other grass types are coming in here. So this would have all been bent really when we first started. And you can see that's been cooked off in here and dead. And then coming in here is, I don't know, rye, KBG, fescue. I don't know how to identify grass types. But so that's pretty exciting. And then back here is still kind of a little bit more bent grass, and you can see it's struggling. And again, this is just kind of testament to my way of trying to recommend and teach lawn care, to not do, you know, every single best practice, because I think that's wasteful and that's unnecessary. If you just do these couple bare minimum things, watch for drought stress, which I'm actually watering the front right now, and tomorrow we'll water the back here because it's going to need it again. And we have heat and no rain in the forecast. But you can maintain all throughout summer, at least in a more mild climate like I have here in Wisconsin, with managing your watering and just watering at the right time when you see your grass start to stress out. And that's what we've been doing here, running a fertilizer program. Actually, what I want to do is I will update you right now. I will cut or show or flash the total that we've spent in all applications in the backyard to this point this year, and you can get a sense of the kind of results we're getting. And then, as promised, putting green. So either tonight after I film these videos, or this weekend, or some other time in the near future, we're gonna renovate the putting green. We're gonna use the rest of the sand that I have over there, rest of my sand pile. We're gonna finish verticutting, which you can see along the dark little areas. I did an experiment a while ago. So that's gonna be in a packaged video here shortly that I'll release after this. You're gonna see me in the same shirt because I'm gonna be filming all of them. So I tried verticutting, but I'm gonna verticut the whole thing, sand top dress, and seed it. And then we're gonna try to get all pen cross to grow in this section. But let's take a closer look at it, talk about what we've done to this point. I'll do the same thing where I kind of flash up costs to this point this year. And then we'll move to the fairway, and then we'll go out to the front. So this hasn't been cut in 3 days. So it's a little on the shaggy side, but it's starting to recover from what was some fairly significant struggles just maybe 3-4 weeks ago, probably 2-3 weeks ago, from the heat, drought, etc. So some of these areas are starting to come back. These areas down here are still, you know, trying their best to fill in, and if I just left these alone and watered properly and continued to manage it, this would all eventually fill in. I just no longer have the patience for it. But we can look, and from the beginning of the year to what it looks like now, it has come a long way in terms of getting grass to fill in, and this bent grass will absolutely take ground. And so again, this would fill in on its own over time. I just no longer have the patience for it. I want to get it seeded, get this thing as nice as I can get it by the end of the year, top dress it, verticut it. We're going to do that here sometime in the near future. So then transitioning to the fairway, you can see it is really stressed out. Couple reasons. One, it hasn't been watered enough and it's struggling. It's trying to go into summer dormancy. The other is this was the path for every wheelbarrow of dirt from the landscaping project from the front. So probably the better part of 6 or 7 yards of material were hauled back here in wheelbarrows right over this little section. So you can even see where it's worst is right here, and that's right where wheelbarrows would have come in. You can even see right here is the most used path. But again, this hasn't been seeded at all. All that's been, and it hasn't been top dressed. All that's happened is it's been mowed at 4/10 of an inch, and it's been watered the same 5 times as everything else. And I was conducting an experiment both on the green and back here to see if you have creeping grass types, how quickly will they take ground. I'm going to abandon that project on the putting green, but what I do still have is what's going on in through here. So this bit here in spring was weeds and weeds alone. And what's left is, I believe, actually Kentucky bluegrass that's coming in and has really started to spread and work its way all the way through. No plugging, no seeding, no anything. And then the bent grass is taking ground over here where this would have been very, very thin all throughout. And it's now pretty well filled in. And again, just drought stress because it hasn't been watered enough and it's fighting the heat and the drought. But even that, all things considered, it's doing really well for the amount of effort that I've put towards it. And that hasn't been on any special spoon feeding additional program. The fairway's been run on the same exact program that's been given to the whole backyard. Only the putting green has gotten a couple extra applications. And now we transition to the front yard and what is landscaping part 4, which is myself, my parents, and my grandpa mixed 150 bags of concrete. I got 3 left, actually 155 bags in that mixer back there until the mixer broke. And then we mixed, so we made it to about 120, 125 bags in that mixer. And then we did the last 30 bags by hand in wheelbarrows. And all of us, only one of us, my grandpa, was the only of the 4 of us that had any experience doing any concrete work. And we built a walkway. It's not perfect because I had no idea what I was doing and I did a couple things wrong, but I'm so happy with this. So I'm gonna show you a little close up, some of the areas that look good that I'm really happy with, some of the areas that don't look good, and I'm just super pleased that it worked. Also, we have the rest of the plants for this landscape bed that I just need to get actually in the ground, but we got some knockout roses and a couple juniper to fill out the rest of this bed out here. So we can get down in here, and I mean, this all is well done, looks really good. I have a couple areas of edges that, you know, I managed to get really nice, where I have this really clean edge in here in the border. And then there's some of the areas where I didn't do things properly. Like this crack didn't get all the way out. You can see I had some rocks left in here. This rock, I didn't bring enough cream up to fill. This whole section, I don't think the color will show up, but these 2 tiles here are like orange. That is because when I was mixing the concrete for these 2 areas, I was mixing it a little bit too wet. And the water that we were using comes straight out of our well. It doesn't go through any of the treatment or whatever. So there's a lot of iron in it, and I mixed it way too wet. And so it's a little bit rusted in appearance. And also because I mixed it too wet, we have the one area that is by far the worst when it comes to the finishing. And that's this through here. Not great. But it should be fine. It's just that it doesn't look overly pretty. This might erode away a little bit, and we'll deal with that when the time comes. The other thing that I did is I mixed the step a little bit too wet, and I also forgot to vibrate the frame when I poured it. I meant to use my Sawzall and vibrate the frame to get everything to settle. So you can see where this didn't actually get the concrete to settle down in, but I plan on bringing in just like some mortar mix or cement only, and we'll patch this up. But all in all, with what this used to look like with the stupid flagstone path and this stupid little landing here that didn't actually have a step, but it was just built up with pavers, it looks so much better. Then, as I mentioned, the front yard is currently getting water number 6. So I know it's often talked about that Kentucky bluegrass doesn't really love the summer, doesn't love the heat, but it's doing really well. All of the areas that aren't getting sucked dry by that pine tree back there. And it's the same story out front here. It's literally running on the exact same program as the backyard's running on this year. I'm not doing anything additionally, anything special out here. This is getting watered for the 6th time. The backyard will get watered for the 6th time tomorrow. Also, this is about as good of a lesson as I can give you in what to look for in terms of when to water. So out here, green, fine. In here, with all the moisture getting pulled out of the ground by this tree, you can see that little bit different color. It's not brown yet, but it's just kind of turning this sad kind of brownish gray. That's when you see that, probably actually a couple days before you get here, is when you want to water. And the last little thing to show is phase 3 is now completely filled in. And I now have 2 videos dedicated to telling you, don't worry about your Kentucky bluegrass. If it comes in thin, it's going to fill in. And I meant it. It will absolutely fill in. Don't worry about your Kentucky bluegrass seeding projects. If they don't all germinate and it comes in a little bit thin, give it time. It will fill in on its own. Kentucky bluegrass seed's expensive. No need to throw any more on the ground. And the last piece to talk about, this side yard. It's formerly known as weed stripes. Yard formerly known as the low cost, low effort section. It has graduated this year from the low cost, low effort section because that's now my mother and brother-in-law's houses. I'm managing those yards and following along with the cheap and easy lawn care program that you can follow along to flip your yard for $25 per 1,000 square feet. But this, outside of when it was being watered to get established, has not been watered at all. And it's okay. Also, earlier in the year, we came through this whole area and filled in holes, filled in low spots, did all of that, and pretty much all of that's now filled in, no issues. And the other exciting bit here is there has never been grass underneath these trees. And it's still a little bit thin under here, but there is grass in here now, and we should be able to get this to hold on. Might have to water even just under these trees to hopefully get it to hang in there, so this can all be turf grass now. Look at these knockout roses too. Man, this guy's throwing up some little flowers. The hydrangea trees putting on new growth. You can see these kind of didn't really, I think they're supposed to turn like a bright red after they flower, and then as they go away. This did, I mean, in the process of the transplant, it probably just didn't have enough energy to do so. But these ones on the ground are the same. And you can see some new growth here, and we'll get some new flowers here. And I'm hopeful that as this plant establishes, we're gonna get some really bright red hydrangea blooms here, which is just gonna look really cool. Then I gotta find a home for the rest of my ground cover. And so that's it for this July 2021 yard and landscape update. Again, I'm super pleased with where we've been able to get to this year. The yard isn't overly exciting. It's kind of been a deflating year from the yard's perspective because it just won't rain, and I'm not willing to water enough to make it look how I'd like it to look. But all things considered, I'm very pleased. The side yard is doing incredible for what this all used to look like. My stone math was not as good as my concrete math, unfortunately. But I think I got a buddy from work that's gonna come take this stone. If you made it this far, I do sincerely appreciate you, because I know this video doesn't provide you any value beyond the entertainment of kind of following along to what I'm doing here in our lawn. So I really do appreciate all of you that watch all my videos, subscribe, comment, like. Sincerely, truly appreciate all of it. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.